What's going on, Ambitious Vet? Welcome to episode number 53 of the Ambitious Vet Show with U.S. Army veteran, transition coach, keynote speaker, and Shell Oil Company's military recruiter, Raymond. Welcome to the Ambitious Vet, where we believe if you desire more, you have to become more. My name is Chris Hoffman, Marine Combat veteran turned passion-driven entrepreneur. On this show, I dive into the trenches with today's top military veteran thought leaders and influencers who know what it takes to not only pay the bills after the military, but really make an impact. You're going to hear their stories, their failures, and golden grenades to empower you to execute what matters most to you in your life right now. Are you an ambitious vet 3 to 6 years out who desires more but doesn't know the first step towards becoming it? I'm talking about creating more opportunity out of the uniform that fulfills what matters most to you in your life. You see, one thing that I found back in 2016 when creating this entire tribe was stability was the number one thing that most, ambitious vets that got out with a big vision but got met with big adversity right after that is, how do I get food on the table? Right? Well, guys, free resources will definitely get you into that first job, the first opportunity that's going to keep food on your table. And if you've gotten that, congratulations. Now, here's the thing. Most veterans don't even hit the stride of actually getting the stability that makes them happy first 3 to 6 years out. They're surviving life long term, leaning on their glory days of being a veteran. Trust me, I've been there, done that, interviewed hundreds of veterans. I know that's the case. Here's the thing, it doesn't have to be like that, right? There's going to be a few of you, maybe it's you listening to this right now, that you want to feel not only that you're putting food on the plate for your family and yourself, but you also want to feel fulfilled in what you're doing. If you're looking to gain sniper-like focus in what matters most to you in your life, or maybe just discover the landmines that are killing your progress on achieving that number one vision, that mission that you've always desired in your heart that you want to do, guys, I want you that's listening to this right now, I want you to leverage our expertise, our resources, and our experience to narrow the gap in you becoming who you desire out of the uniform. I want you to click the link in the show notes below. Let's schedule a 30-minute call, and let's give you your first aha moment of many that's going to get you out there and be living that life that you truly desire. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, this is Steven, host of Knucklehead Podcast, and you're listening to the Ambitious Vet Podcast with Chris Hoffman.
All right, Ambitious Vet. So first and foremost, I just want to welcome you to another episode of the Ambitious Vet Show. If it wasn't for you, this would not even matter, right? We do this for you. So first and foremost, just thank you for listening in on episode number 53 already. And I'm excited to bring this one to you. Today's guest is going to be Raymond. Dylan is a military to civilian transition expert. He is bilingual and fluent in military and corporate speak. Dylan is a dynamic speaker, passionate coach, mentor, and consultant. He also serves as a military recruitment lead for a major petrochemical company. Dylan was recently highlighted in Stars and Stripes and on LinkedIn as an influencer and military advocate to follow. He's author of Rucksack to Briefcase, a military to civilian transition guide for service members and their families. Dylan is a certified professional in human resources and holds a bachelor's degree in business administration from University of Maryland University College. Dylan has a distinguished 25-plus year Army career, which includes 2 overseas combat deployments. He held 2 of the most challenging roles in the Army, a drill sergeant and field recruiter in New York City during 9/11. He rose to the senior enlisted rank of Master Sergeant before his appointment to the rank of Warrant Officer in 2006. Dylan is the recipient of several leadership awards, which include General MacArthur Award, Reserve Officer Outstanding Warrant Officer of the Year, Employer Support of the Guard, and Reserve Volunteer of the Year, and Military Outstanding Volunteer Service Medal. Dylan is active in the military community and serves as a board member of Texas Military Forces Support Foundation. Dylan is the proud husband to Dr. Trinice Raymond and father to 4 lovely girls and papa to grandson Jalen. Guys, you that is listening to this right now, I'm excited to bring this to you. He does not hold back from the golden grenades. I was taking notes and notes. And if you don't already have a pen and paper, if you're running, I would have your notepad app ready to take a pause to capture some great ideas here, because he dives into his humble beginnings of New York City and how he worked his way out of that situation. Also talks about how arrogant he got out, from a master sergeant position to becoming, just getting out and being nobody. Talks about how he sharpened his saw to, create opportunity and get better and actually start creating momentum out of the uniform. Talks about his biggest failure and how getting out of the uniform is a double-edged sword and how you can be more proactive in achieving that. He also talks about how when you're out, how to, not just go after 7 doorways at once, but how do you, as an ambitious vet that really wants to be successful quickly out of the uniform, how do you focus on that one door and stick to that one door until you're successful, guys? This is action-packed, golden grenade central, guys. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the trenches with Dylan Raymond. Dylan Raymond. Dylan, are you there?
I am. Thank you, Chris. Can you hear me?
I can. Hear you loud and clear, brother. Welcome to the Ambitious Vet.
It's an opportunity. It's awesome to be here. Love the opportunity. Love what you're doing. Being able to share that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to this community, especially for those that have given their time, talent, and treasures, to serve this nation.
Yeah, for sure, brother. And we all appreciate you. So, brother, if you would just so graciously fill the gaps in that introduction and kind of let us know a little bit out of all these achievements and trophies and credibility that you've boosted. Who are you as a person, man?
Well, to tell you a little bit, I'm really humbling to be where I'm at today. Born in the city, New York City, second oldest of 6 boys. So very tough growing up in the inner city. So I had an opportunity to get out of, grew up in public housing, 6 of us in a 2-bedroom apartment. So people look at what you've done today and not really know the work, the grind, the things that you had to do, because nobody gave me anything. So I had an opportunity to join the military. I was 244 pounds, overweight. In fact, my name was termed Heavy D. And got in and I said, well, let me try this thing out. Really did well, lost some weight, kind of matriculated through the Army. I started out as an optician, worked my way up. I was selected to be a drill sergeant, recruiter. And then I decided to cross over into the officer's rank, but I went as a warrant officer. So retired as a Chief Warrant Officer 3. So I'm family first. I love family, 4 beautiful daughters and a little grandson, and just really fortunate to be in a position to be able to give back, share. So that's me. Again, love collaborating, love leading, love learning. And that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, love it, brother. I love it. And what I love about it all is, and my apologies, Warrant Officer 3. I know that was the rank I wanted to hit when I was in the Marine Corps. I wanted to get in the Warrant Officer, but I was just like, I was like 4 years in. I was just like, you know what? If I get out right now, I'm 24 years old. I have 4 more years to screw it all up and get back into the Marine Corps. But now I'm 30 years old and I've kind of figured some stuff out. So I'm happy there's guys like you that have the beginner's mind that, led the troops, man, and got up to those ranks. And I'm sure you made a huge difference and you're continuing to make the difference. So I love who you are as a man, humble guy coming from grounded roots. And I just, that's some of the best stories, brother, that come in here. So tell us about your transition story, man. So when you were getting out of the Army after, 25 plus years of experience, how was that transition like at that stage of your career?
Well, so I actually when I came off active duty, I was a Master Sergeant E8. So I actually transitioned and went into the reserves.
Oh, got it.
But so when I came off in 05, probably had a little bit of arrogance. I was a drill sergeant, recruiter, had the badges on. So my expectation is, hey, they don't know who I am. And quite honestly, prior to me getting off, I really thought I was going to have to change my telephone number because I thought companies were going to be calling me trying to reach out, get in contact with me, but I got a rude awakening. Nobody called. Now here I am, a master sergeant, a lot of years of experience, and I went to this first networking event. Struggled, sat down, and the guy asked me, "Hey, what do you want to do?" If he would have spoke to me or saw my face, it was as if I had a tablespoon of peanut butter in my mouth, had no idea, trying to communicate what I did. And I was like, yeah, it's on my resume, but they want to know who you are, because anybody can put words on the paper. So in that experience, it took me 4 months of being unemployed, and it hurt. I mean, it really attacked my confidence. My self-esteem was low. I mean, here I am fighting, leading out in the front, deploying, and I'm coming back to civilians sitting across the table from someone, and they had no clue who I was. So I began to work on and sharpen my sword. And mind you, I was transitioning from New York City to Houston, Texas. So I was a transition inside of a transition.
Yeah,
so
that's
it. Was a struggle. It was a struggle.
Yeah, I'm sure, man. Getting out and building new relationships in a brand new city. Don't even know who Dylan is, all that good, all that stuff. So I'm sure that was a transition in itself. So, I mean, I talk a lot about sharpening the saw and like the programs that we provide and stuff like that. But, that's a great concept. Everyone's just like sharpen that saw. But can you kind of touch on, more concrete examples of how Dylan actually started sharpening his saw to find out his purpose out of the uniform?
Yeah. So after about a couple of weeks, when it was real painful being unemployed, I had to humble myself. The one good thing that I had is I had to hustle and grind from New York City, because you had to, be able to be ahead of the game and get on the grind. So I began to start looking at opportunities, networking, and just basically took what the military taught me. I created my daily operations plans, where I'm going to go out today. I'm going to meet 3 new people. I'm going to go to some type of networking event. And I made it purposeful. Then I realized I started getting good at it. I said, well, let me start applying for jobs. So I started getting offers. I said, wow, I must be getting better at what I'm doing. And then finally, I had an offer to be a recruiter in an offshore drilling company. Had no clue about offshore. However, I did know about recruiting, and did know people. And I kind of sold myself on, hey, you give me the opportunity, I'll be able to reduce that learning curve. So that's what I did. And as I began to go around the country, I realized that it was just not me that was struggling. And I kind of ran from it. However, I realized that somebody took the time to give me, to invest in me. I owe it to someone to be able to invest in others, if they're willing to put the work in.
Yeah. Yeah. That was one thing. Guys, if you're not already following Dylan on LinkedIn, I don't know what you're doing, but his tagline on the top of LinkedIn is, give me 1%, I'll earn the rest of the 99%. And, this man gets out there, does the legwork, does the relationships. I mean, he just came back from the largest job board conference in, the world. What was it? A couple weeks ago. And you guys can keep up with that on LinkedIn, Twitter, and all that stuff. But he's constantly providing golden grenades out there on video. So I definitely encourage you guys to follow him, connect with him for sure. So Dylan, we talked about it a little bit, man, but you're sharpening your saw, you're building out all these opportunities, you're taking opportunities as they come and learning and building confidence. Now, let's dive in to what was your biggest failure and what did you learn from it, brother?
So the biggest failure, I would say, is not preparing for transitioning. Quite honestly, because in the military, it could be a double-edged sword. They'll take care of everything. They pack up your housing, they move you, they tell you where you're going. But I didn't take it. I figured, oh, shucks. I took care of myself. In the military, it's all about taking care of the team. And sometimes you forget about number one, which is the leader. And so I gave to, at the end of the day, when I walked out of the base with my DD-214, I mean, not that I've never been in prison, but it's almost like walking out, oh, what the hell do I do? What do I do?
Right.
So that was a kind of a wake-up call. But what I learned is in that process, because I depended on the military leaders to guide my career, my entire life, that at some point I'm in the driver's seat. So I need to learn to drive my vehicle. I needed to know what course I was going on, what direction. If I didn't, what are the alternate directions? You know, if I can't get there one way because of construction or obstacles, again, in the military, you get over, under, around those obstacles. So I learned to, and then put the work in. You got to put the work in, and then being able to do what you say you're going to do. You know, so those are some of the keys. That because it hurt me, and I was successful in the military, and to come out and struggle, that really woke me up. And I felt like I failed my family to be unemployed, but I knew I had to pick up tighten my bootstraps and continue the mission.
I love it. I love it, man. That just, you're a very principle driven guy, very value driven, it seems like. And like, you guide your decision making and everything like that on a daily basis. And I think it sounds like you just utilized some of the intangibles from the military and started applying those, and you just started building blocks, and eventually things started rocking and rolling. And I love hustlers, man. I love hustlers, man. I love people that just get out and do the work.
They say good things come to those who wait, but that's only the stuff left behind by those who hustle.
Come on. There it is. There's the one line. That's a golden grenade, my friend. So I would ask you, Dylan, what do you think the biggest struggle is? I mean, I was looking it up, and then even my assistant was looking it up. I mean, 8 audio CDs that has been transcribed to MP3 downloads, 7 DVDs, anywhere from leveraging LinkedIn, managing expectations, working a job fair. I mean, you got tons of content on your website, which I'll provide to everyone in the show notes of the podcast and even inside the Facebook group. I mean, no wonder why you're the transition expert, right? But out of your word, as a transitioning expert, what do you think the biggest challenge it is for a veteran to becoming more post-military?
Becoming, what was that?
Just becoming more.
Oh, okay. I think is they anticipate, almost like I think when I was a drill sergeant, they would anticipate the command. So the last 2 days, I literally had from 8 a.m. in the morning back-to-back telephone interviews. And a lot of it, I ended up shifting to coaching the service members because they just didn't know where to start. And then I would use what they've learned in the military. I said, most jobs or most opportunities, you're going to have 70 to 80% of the opportunity, the knowledge. Because if I dropped you out of the back of a Chinook in the middle of a desert, it's something within you. You're going to set up, you hit the ground, you're going to set up, well, where's the nearest town? Where's the nearest people? Let me set up my perimeter. Let me set up communication. So my thing is just teaching them. They always ask me, well, what are some of the most common areas that veterans get started in? And I don't personally matchmake because you did infantry, I'm not going to assume you're going to stay in security, because you can be a salesperson. There's so many other things that you can do. So I like to get, what is your idea of what you want to do? And then I can partner with you and kind of coach and facilitate that. But I want to not lead you. I want to be able to coach you and partner with you. So the biggest thing is just, and that's the $1 million question. And that's the first question I typically ask. What is it that you want to do? And most service members are going to give you 7 things. Well, I want to do this, and that. And I say, okay, great. Let's put those 7 things on some doorways behind you. I want you to run at them and hit all of them. Go hit, see if you can run in all 7 at one time. You need to pick one, and we can focus on the others.
Come on. Love it. Love it. Ambitious Vets, those of you guys are watching us live or just on the podcast later, think about it. Where in life are you focused on 7 doors that you're trying to run through right now? And when all you need to do is run through one that's going to push the biggest rock in your life, which we all know what it is. Most of the time we're hiding that one in the closet, but find that one door that you want to drive through and just drive through that one and figure out what comes up, what other resources, connections, or whatever comes through just running through that one door. And I think you'll be surprised what comes after that. So that's awesome. So, Dylan, I mean, one thing I read in one of your LinkedIn, blog posts from 2018 is, why are free resources, ultimately not the answer to empower veterans long term. Like what was the idea behind that, and kind of just put some more thought around why you wrote that article?
A couple things. Free again. Even those that when we raised our right hand and accepted the challenge to serve in the military. I mean, our life. We gave up, willing to give our life. Pay the ultimate sacrifice, but free. Just like if you give a person a fish, they're only going to eat for a day. If you show them how to fish, they'll eat whenever they're hungry. And what I've seen is it's so noisy in the military community. You got people say, hey, come and do this free resource.
Tons of free resources. Yeah.
Free so then you got these people that got all these certifications that mean it may mean something, but is it valuable? Is it adding anything to your bottom line? And I see the biggest one is project management. I mean, everything you do in the military is a project. Do you need to get a project management certification? And what I've seen is a lot of servicemen, we've put on events, you get 90 people registered. Now we got a budget for that. We have to plan for that, and then you have 45 people show up. So I use the analogy. It's a store I work that's in the neighborhood. It's called Aldi's. I mean, Aldi's have shopping carts. You can't get a shopping cart unless you put a quarter in it, right? And you don't go in there, you don't see a whole bunch of shopping carts all over the place. They're neatly stacked, because if you want your quarterback, you're going to go back, take that shopping cart, connect it nicely, plug it in to get your quarterback, And I always tell veterans, I said, why don't you go to Walmart, show your ID card, and try to walk out with a banana? You can't do it, because if you have no skin in the game, it's no value. You have to invest something, just like trying to get a hotel, trying to rent a car. It's more valuable if you put some sweat equity to it. If it's given to you, it's no value. But if you got to work for it, you'll see the value added, the sweat equity.
Yeah, for sure. And you put in the extra effort, right? I see that across the board out here in San Diego. Of a lot of free nonprofit stuff like that are out there providing great programs, stuff like that. But when you go into the actual workshops or the programs, there's like one or two veterans actually sitting inside of them. But if you go to the website or whatever, they're promoting it like it's sold out. So, I love this. And I encourage veterans to just do your diligence, seek wise counsel from those that actually are positioned as experts like Dylan here and all that, and leverage those resources, those tools and all that good stuff. So, brother, I mean, tell us more about what you're doing right now, because you just went and spoke at the Indeed interactive conference and stuff like that. Like what's this next mission that Dylan's honing in on and focusing on, and how, tell us why and where you're going next. How can veterans kind of connect with you?
Yeah, so my thing, again, it's pretty noisy out in the space. I get a lot of people sometimes. I see the threads on LinkedIn. It's like, hey, go speak to these 50 people, okay? And I even see my name in there. I always tell people, if they come to me, I said, why don't you go to the other folks first? Because if not, you're going to be confused. You're going to be running around chasing your tail. So I like to simplify, and my goal is to empower and educate frontline leaders that can also take that and duplicate it. Because my thing is, I try to don't look at it that the civilian sector is different. I try to empower you to show what you've already learned. Let's take that and polish that. So now you be presented in such a way that you're going to be more valuable to an organization. My also thing is to target companies and organizations to be able to consult them as well in their leadership, because you got a lot of, hey, I want to do this. I want to drag the logo and the banner around just to get on the veteran hiring bandwagon. But it's not important to get people in the front door if you're not keeping them, And you got to sometimes, and me, in my conversations with veterans, I give them the hard look. I think this is a little bit outside your reach. It may be a little bit below your responsibility. I mean, if you're E7, I'm not going to put you in a position that's E5. If you're an 05, I'm not putting you in a position 01. So my mission is to really look for those individuals, or those individuals that are willing to do the 1%. Bring 1% to the game and then let me coach, mentor you, point you, and tell you where you need to go. That's your azimuth, go, and then also be able to coach those organizations to do the well. So it was an honor to be able to sit on the Indeed conference. The room was packed. People are hungry for the knowledge. How do we do this? How do we make this thing happen? And quite honestly, when companies say, I want to start a military program, why? What is it about veterans that you're looking? What problem are you looking to solve? So go a little bit deeper than just get this person because they're a veteran and get to check the box type exercise.
Yeah, no, I love it. And what was like the general trends of that, that conference? What was stuff that most veterans should know that are listening to this, or just tuning in live? Like, what would be like some practical knowledge that they need to be focusing on if they're posting the resume on Indeed or something like that, brother? What was some key components that you represented veterans, and what would be some best practices you would have veterans use to get ahead of the hiring process?
Yeah, so one of the things I do a training, and I do the resume, and I kind of flip it around, and I have the veterans as hiring managers, and I'm the candidate. So I'll present a resume with a veteran in italicized, underlined, and bold to say that they're a combat veteran, and then I got a QR code, and really have no meat on in the resume. Not to lean with that you're a veteran first. Why don't you lean with your qualifications and how you can add value to the organization? Oh, and by the way, you happen to be a veteran as well. And then the other thing, you get a lot of veterans, as far as with resumes, 20, 30 formats. Why? Maybe 2 or 3, maybe a government resume, 1 or 2 civilian resumes, because if that was me, that's work. To me, that's a full-time job trying to figure out what resume you use and to apply for what particular job. So, and one of the trends that we're seeing again is now our company's veteran ready, so veteran friendly, what does that mean? Nobody's going to tell a veteran, no, oh no, we don't hire veterans. Who's going to say that? Nobody's going to say that, but are you veteran ready? Are you ready? Do you have employee resources groups to support your veteran initiative? What do you have in place to not only get that veteran, but to keep the veteran? Because if you keep that veteran, that veteran is going to tell some other people.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what is a recent stat that was online that said over 65% of veterans are changing their career within 2 years? I mean, that's crazy, man. That's nuts. So yeah, I appreciate you getting out there, spearheading it and representing our community and just helping companies understand how do you not only hire them, but retain them, which I think is something that is definitely a gap, right? So brother, I mean, we have a tradition here as well. 3 golden grenades, man. What are 3 golden grenades that you could throw in right here to blow up any ambitious vet that's out there looking to become more, maybe just become more valuable in the marketplace, create more impact inside of their startup business, or maybe it just want to increase my quality of life? What would be some 3 gold grenades you drop into the tribe?
Well, and being in the military, I love acronyms. Acronyms usually stick with you and can help you for the long haul. It's just easy for me to 1, train it, and then 2, to retain it. So I'll give 1, and that's sports. We use sports. I know in the Army, when you had a malfunction with your weapon, it was something that your immediate reaction, slap up on the magazine, and you did whatever you need to do to clear that, to clear that the jam. So I use the same acronym for service members. So number 1, it would be start early as soon as possible. And day 1 of basic training is not early enough. It's always to be able to think of your exiting plan, because guess what? You may go in, I'm gonna do 20 years, I'm gonna do 30, I'm gonna be a general, colonel, admiral, whatever. But what happens if something happened along the way? So you want to start early and start your planning early. Number 2, you want to plan and edit, and you can improve on your plan. But the key is you got to work the plan. Work the plan because nobody's going to give you anything. Work it. Number 3, orient yourself. Identify where you at, just like in map read. I use everything that the military has taught me. Identify where you're at, determine where you want to go, determine the azimuth, and then go, step, do what you need to do.
Yeah.
The other thing, this one that is difficult with most service members is reaching out to others. And my motto is networking. You network or not work. So you can reach out with civilians. And just don't reach out with people that you're comfortable with in your squad. Reach out to people across the table that's different from you, that I learned that was my strength when I came into the civilian sector, because you're going to have a diverse a group of people that you're working with. And last two, think outside the box, and you're not limited to doing what you did in the military. So think about a couple things. What do you like doing? What really burns you up? What really bothers you? Because that may be what you were created to fix. And that can be a great business opportunity, great niche for the business. And then the last thing, sell yourself. A lot of veterans fall short. Sell yourself on your military background, experience, and how it would add value to an organization. Because you're a complex problem solver. You'll solve problems. And that's what you need to do. If you can identify what the problem is, take inventory of what's in your supply of what you've done, and then you fix that problem. So if I tell you, I got a headache, don't tell me soak my feet. Give me a bare aspirin, fix my problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely get to the source of the pain and then take action from there. I'm going to call the title of this podcast, Do the Work, by Dylan Raymond. Just do the work and pivot along the way. I love it. I love it. Love it. Thanks you for those golden grenades. Dylan, where can people go to connect with you, man? Where can they go to get that book that you have and you've worked your butt off to, obviously do the work and publish and get it out there? How can they get it, hands on some DVDs or content or whatever? Where can they go to connect with Dylan Raymond?
Okay, great. Well, number one, I'm on all of the, most of it. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I have a website, DylanERaymond.com. In fact, I'm doing some rework on that. It's www.dylan, DYLANE, Raymond, RAYMOND.com. That's DylanERaymond.com. And I just refreshed the book. So this is the second edition of the book. What I did actually went through from cover to cover, just updated, took out stuff, put some new stuff in it. But I added a bonus chapter that my wife, Dr. Trinice West Raymond, she did it from a perspective of a spouse. What is it like for a spouse going through the transition? And you can pick that up at that's bit.ly/rucksack, RUCKSACK, briefcase, rucksack to briefcase. So that's bit.ly/rucksack, RUCKSACK rucksack update. And love for you to connect with me, especially on LinkedIn. I live on LinkedIn. People try to get me to leave LinkedIn, but it's 500 million people on the platform. I'm going to cast my line. Why would I go anywhere else? I mean, people are there. Everybody I need, anybody need me, I'm available. And I'm usually responsive. If you reach out to me, I'm going to get back to you 24. Usually I like to do it 24 to 48 hours. So if it's 72 hours, then you need to send me another note. I'm either traveling or something's going on.
Yeah, I got it. Ambitious Vets, definitely take action on Dylan Raymond's offer. I mean, this man has done the work. You've heard the trend across this conversation, and you're going to be hearing it on the podcast, but he does the work. He gets out there, gains the knowledge, gains the resources, and gets out there and does the work, figures it out, learns from it, pivots, and continues to push forward towards that mission. I couldn't say it better myself. And then he even went back and, documented all of his work, right? You talk about hustle. Gary Vaynerchuk's one of the most, top thought leaders and just in the trenches, grinding, connecting, networking. And he always talks about document your life, because there may, a day where your test becomes a testimonial. Absolutely. And, Dylan has done a great job of coming back and pull other ambitious vets up. So for that, brother, I just want to thank you for who you are for our community, and thanks for being on the Ambitious Vet Show.
Great, great. I did. If it's okay, I'd like to make an offer to 5 vets out there. I'd love to give what I'm gonna do. I'd love a couple of vets that's out there listening. The first 5 individuals that text me at 832-301-5110. That's 832-301-5110. And then I want you to put hashtag Ask Chief, ASK CHIEF. And I'm gonna send you an autographed copy of my book. The first 5 people that, because I think somebody's out there that may be listening, may not want to ask a question, and maybe the questions will get answered in this book. So I'd love to do that to the first 5 veterans. And thank you for the opportunity to be able to offer that. Again, that's 832-301-5110. I'm going to give you 5 veterans a copy of an autographed copy of my book. So again, being able to give back to the community.
Come on, Dylan. We appreciate that, brother. Anything that's going to bring wisdom into this tribe to help narrow the gap and their next mission in life, brother, we're all about that. So thanks for coming in and bringing your wisdom. Well, there you have it, Ambitious Vet. Episode number 53 of the Ambitious Vet Show with Dylan Raymond. Do us a favor over here, Ambitious Vet. If you found just one golden grenade from this episode, go and share it. Go share it with your network. Go share it with any of your social media outlets that you have. Don't forget to tag me and Dylan Raymond inside that post so we know that we provided you with the golden grenade that is good enough for you to share it with your community, right? Because this is why we do this thing, right? It's all about the why, the doing and having comes in your life. But guys, we want to know that for you who's listening to this as a listener, that you're getting golden grenades. If we see tags on this podcast, which we're seeing them and we love them and appreciate every single one of you guys that are doing that. But if you're listening to this right now, you got one golden grenade that was just like, wow, that was it. I'm going to go implement this tomorrow, next week, or next month if you're on vacation. I just want you to, my call to action to you is just get out there and share it with your tribe. Share it with a veteran that desires more but doesn't know the first step towards becoming more. And you'd be surprised that as you continue to add value to your network will continue to work for you. So if you haven't already, subscribe, rate, review the podcast. Feedback is what allows anything to improve in life, and we want to improve right beside you. So meet us in the middle and let's get better together. Sound good? Lastly, we know that you're warrior made. To become passion-driven, utilize this one golden grenade you heard today, and you'll find your life being more meaningful and impactful. Let's go get it.